The Iberian Peninsula, located in the southwestern corner of Europe, is one of the most historically significant and culturally diverse regions in the world. Bounded by the Mediterranean Sea to the east and south, the Atlantic Ocean to the west, and the Pyrenees Mountains to the northeast, it encompasses modern-day Spain, Portugal, Andorra, and a small portion of southern France. The strategic location of the peninsula has made it a bridge between Europe and Africa, as well as a vital gateway between the Mediterranean and the Atlantic. Throughout history, the Iberian Peninsula has been home to a multitude of civilizations, each leaving a profound impact on its cultural, linguistic, and architectural landscape. From prehistoric cave dwellers to the Iberians and Celts, and from the Romans to the Moors, the region has served as a melting pot of traditions, innovations, and conflicts. These influences have shaped the peninsula into a land of remarkable diversity, with rich artistic expressions, unique linguistic evolutions, and a dynamic historical narrative that continues to inspire scholars and historians. This documentary will explore the long and intricate history of the Iberian Peninsula, tracing its development from prehistoric times to the rise of its modern nations. By examining the key civilizations that inhabited the region, we will uncover how their interactions, advancements, and struggles forged the unique identity of Iberia. The journey begins with the earliest human settlers, their artistic achievements, and their transition to complex societies, laying the foundation for the great civilizations that would later define the region. The history of the Iberian Peninsula begins in deep antiquity, with evidence of human habitation dating back to the Paleolithic period. Some of the earliest traces of human presence include stone tools found in Atapuerca, a significant archaeological site in northern Spain that has provided invaluable insights into the evolution of early hominins. These early settlers were primarily hunter-gatherers who relied on their environment for sustenance, crafting rudimentary tools, and adapting to the harsh conditions of the Ice Age. One of the most remarkable legacies of prehistoric Iberia is its cave art, particularly the Altamira cave paintings in northern Spain. Discovered in the late 19th century, these vivid depictions of bison, deer, and other animals showcase the artistic and cognitive abilities of early humans. The paintings, estimated to be over 15,000 years old, reveal a sophisticated understanding of movement, depth, and naturalistic representation. Similar cave art has been found throughout the peninsula, indicating a widespread cultural tradition among prehistoric communities. The transition from the Paleolithic to the Neolithic period around 6000 BCE marked a significant turning point in Iberian history. The introduction of agriculture and animal domestication led to the establishment of permanent settlements. Early farming communities began to cultivate wheat, barley, and legumes while herding sheep, goats, and cattle. Pottery and weaving emerged as important crafts, indicating a shift toward a more complex and sedentary way of life. By the Bronze Age, around 2500 BCE, the Iberian Peninsula saw the rise of megalithic structures, such as the dolmens of Antequera in southern Spain. These large stone tombs, constructed without the use of metal tools, suggest a highly organized society with advanced engineering knowledge. Other important archaeological sites, such as Los Miares and El Argar, provide evidence of hierarchical societies engaged in long-distance trade and metalworking. As the Iberian Peninsula entered the Iron Age, circa 1000 BCE, it became home to a variety of distinct yet interconnected cultures. Among the most significant were the Iberians, Celts, and Tartessians, each contributing to the development of the region's social and economic landscape. The Iberians were one of the dominant groups inhabiting the eastern and southern coasts of the peninsula. Their origins remain a subject of debate, but they are believed to have developed independently while also absorbing influences from Mediterranean civilizations such as the Phoenicians and Greeks. The Iberians had a complex social hierarchy, with warrior elites governing organized communities. Their economy revolved around agriculture, mining, and trade, and they developed a distinctive writing system known as Iberian script, which remains only partially deciphered. Iberian art, particularly their intricate metalwork and sculptures like the Lady of Elche, highlights their sophisticated craftsmanship and cultural refinement. In contrast, the Celts occupied the northern and western regions of the Iberian Peninsula, where they lived in fortified hilltop settlements known as castros. The Celts were primarily pastoralists and warriors, renowned for their metalworking skills and vibrant oral traditions. They introduced iron tools and weapons, which revolutionized agriculture and warfare. Over time, Iberian and Celtic cultures interacted, leading to the emergence of Celtiberians, a hybrid society that blended Iberian urbanism with Celtic martial traditions. Celtiberian warriors were highly regarded, often serving as mercenaries for foreign armies, including Carthage and Rome. One of the most enigmatic civilizations of ancient Iberia was the Tartessians, who flourished in the southwestern part of the peninsula, near present-day Andalusia. Tartessos, often associated with the fabled wealth of biblical legends, was a prosperous trading hub with connections to the Phoenicians. The Tartessians developed a unique writing system and a sophisticated economy based on metal exports, particularly silver and copper. Despite their wealth and cultural achievements, the civilization mysteriously declined around the 6th century BCE, possibly due to political instability or environmental factors. As these diverse groups coexisted and interacted, they laid the groundwork for the next wave of external influences, particularly from the Mediterranean powers of Phoenicia, Greece, and Carthage. Their arrival would further transform the Iberian Peninsula, ushering in a new era of commerce, warfare, and cultural exchange. Phoenicians, Greeks, and Carthaginians. The Iberian Peninsula saw increased interaction with Mediterranean civilizations from the first millennium BCE, as Phoenicians, Greeks, and Carthaginians established colonies and trade networks, significantly shaping its cultural and economic landscape. The Phoenicians, renowned maritime traders from the Levant, were among the earliest to establish settlements in Iberia. One of their most significant colonies was Gadir, modern Cadiz, founded around 1100 BCE. This strategic port became a hub for commerce, particularly in metals like silver and tin, which the Phoenicians exported across the Mediterranean. They introduced advanced navigation techniques and early writing systems, influencing local Iberian societies. The Greeks, arriving later, established colonies such as Emporion, modern Empúries, in northeastern Iberia. Unlike the Phoenicians, who focused primarily on trade, the Greeks actively engaged in cultural exchange, introducing new artistic styles, coinage, and political structures. Their presence facilitated contact between Iberians and the wider Hellenistic world. The Carthaginians, heirs to the Phoenician maritime empire, played a more aggressive role in Iberia. Following their conflicts with the Greeks, Carthage expanded its influence, particularly in the south and east. Carthaginian generals like Hamilcar Barca and his son Hannibal used Iberia as a military base during the Punic Wars against Rome. The Carthaginians enhanced trade networks, but also militarized the region, leaving a lasting impact on Iberian warfare and governance. These civilizations profoundly shaped Iberian trade, urbanization, and governance. The Phoenician alphabet influenced local scripts, Greek coinage and artistic motifs were adopted, and Carthaginian military tactics later influenced Iberian resistance against Rome. Roman Hispania, with the outbreak of the Punic Wars, 264 to 146 BCE, Rome and Carthage vied for control over the Iberian Peninsula. After Hannibal's campaigns, Rome decisively defeated Carthage and incorporated Iberia into its growing empire, marking the beginning of Roman Hispania. The Romans systematically conquered Iberia in a prolonged series of campaigns. Cities such as Numantia fiercely resisted but were ultimately subdued. By the 1st century BCE, Iberia was fully integrated into the Roman Empire, divided into provinces like Hispania, Baetica, Lusitania, and Tarraconensis. Roman rule transformed the peninsula through infrastructure and urbanization. Road networks, aqueducts, and monumental architecture emerged, with key cities such as Merida, Tarragona, and Córdoba exemplifying Roman engineering prowess. Hispania became a crucial economic center, supplying Rome with olive oil, wine, and minerals. Culturally, Romanization was profound. Latin became the dominant language, forming the basis for modern Spanish and Portuguese. Roman law, governance, and architectural styles deeply influenced local societies. Additionally, Christianity spread throughout Hispania, gradually becoming the dominant faith and playing a significant role in shaping Iberian identity. The Visigothic Kingdom. As the Western Roman Empire weakened, the Iberian Peninsula became vulnerable to external incursions. In the early 5th century CE, Germanic tribes, including the Visigoths, migrated into Hispania. Initially federati, allied mercenaries of Rome, the Visigoths eventually established an independent kingdom of Toledo by the late 6th century. The Visigothic period marked a transition from Roman administration to a Germanic monarchy. While maintaining aspects of Roman governance, the Visigoths introduced new legal codes, such as the Lex Visigothorum, which blended Roman and Germanic traditions. Religion played a crucial role in their rule. The Visigoths initially followed Arian Christianity, which differed from the Catholicism practiced by the Hispano-Roman population. However, in 589 CE, King Recared Murray converted to Catholicism, aligning the kingdom with the broader Christian world and fostering greater unity. Despite internal stability, the Visigothic kingdom suffered from frequent succession crises and noble rivalries, weakening its political structure. These internal divisions, combined with external pressures, ultimately led to the kingdom's downfall. In 711 CE, Muslim forces led by Tariq ibn Ziyad crossed the Strait of Gibraltar and swiftly defeated the Visigoths, ushering in a new era of Iberian history under Islamic rule. In 711 CE, the Umayyad Caliphate launched a swift and decisive conquest of the Iberian Peninsula, led by Tariq ibn Ziyad. Within a few years, most of the region came under Muslim rule, establishing the state of Al-Andalus. This new Islamic realm became a center of political, cultural, and scientific advancements. Under the Umayyads, particularly during the rule of Abd al-Rahman III, Al-Andalus flourished, with Córdoba emerging as one of the most advanced cities in medieval Europe. The period saw remarkable achievements in science, medicine, astronomy, and philosophy, often inspired by Greek, Roman, and Persian influences. Monumental structures such as the Alhambra in Granada and the Great Mosque of Córdoba symbolize the era's architectural splendor. A unique aspect of Al-Andalus was the coexistence, convivencia, of Muslims, Christians, and Jews. While relations were complex and not always peaceful, there were extended periods of cultural exchange and tolerance, particularly in fields like mathematics, medicine, and philosophy. Scholars like Averroes, Ibn Rushd, and Maimonides left lasting intellectual legacies. However, internal divisions, the rise of rival factions such as the Taifa kingdoms, and the invasions by the Almoravids and Almohads weakened Al-Andalus. By the 11th century, the Christian kingdoms of the north had begun their Reconquista, leading to a gradual decline of Islamic rule. The final blow came in 1492 when the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella captured Granada, marking the end of Muslim rule in Iberia. The Reconquista was a centuries-long struggle by Christian kingdoms to reclaim the Iberian Peninsula from Muslim rule. It began in the northern regions, particularly in Asturias, Leon, and Castile, where small Christian strongholds resisted the Muslim expansion. Key turning points in the Reconquista included the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa, 1212, which severely weakened Muslim power, and the capture of Toledo, 1085, which became a major victory for Christian forces. Religious institutions, particularly the Catholic Church, played a crucial role by supporting military orders like the Knights Templar and the Order of Santiago, who fought alongside Christian monarchs. The final stage of the Reconquista came with the Siege of Granada, 1492, the last Muslim stronghold in Iberia. The victory of Ferdinand and Isabella marked not only the end of Islamic rule, but also the beginning of a new era of Spanish expansion and religious consolidation. The expulsion of Jews and Muslims followed, reshaping Iberian society and culture. The Reconquista profoundly influenced the Iberian Peninsula's language, architecture, and national identities, paving the way for the Spanish and Portuguese age of exploration. Following the Reconquista, Spain and Portugal turned their ambitions overseas, leading the age of exploration. These maritime nations became dominant global powers, driven by economic motives, religious zeal, and technological advancements. Portugal, under the patronage of Prince Henry the Navigator, pioneered exploration along the African coast. Key figures like Vasco da Gama reached India in 1498, opening lucrative trade routes for spices and goods. Meanwhile, Spain, under the sponsorship of Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, financed Christopher Columbus's voyage in 1492, leading to the discovery of the New World. The Treaty of Tordesillas, 1494, mediated by the Pope, divided the newly discovered lands between Spain and Portugal, granting Brazil to Portugal and most of the Americas to Spain. This marked the beginning of vast colonial empires that would dominate global politics for centuries. In 1580, Spain and Portugal were temporarily united under the Iberian Union, further consolidating their influence. However, this period also saw increasing resistance from indigenous populations and rival European powers, leading to the eventual decline of Iberian supremacy in the 17th century. The Age of Exploration left a lasting legacy on the world, shaping global trade, language, and culture. The Iberian Peninsula, once a battleground of civilizations, became the launching point for one of the most transformative eras in world history. The modern history of the Iberian Peninsula has been shaped by major political and social transformations. The Napoleonic Wars, 1807 to 1814, had a profound impact on both Spain and Portugal, leading to the Peninsular War, which saw national resistance against French occupation. These conflicts, coupled with political instability, contributed to the independence movements in Latin America, ultimately resulting in the loss of Spain and Portugal's vast colonial empires. The fall of monarchies and the rise of republics brought significant changes. Spain experienced the First and Second Spanish Republics, 1873 to 1874, 1931 to 1939, marked by political turmoil and social unrest. Portugal, after years of instability, overthrew its monarchy in 1910, establishing the First Portuguese Republic. The Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939, was a defining moment in Spain's modern history. The conflict between the Republicans and the Nationalists resulted in the rise of Francisco Franco's dictatorship, which lasted until 1975. Under Francoist Spain, political repression and economic challenges persisted, but the regime also promoted industrialization and modernization. Portugal underwent a significant transition with the Carnation Revolution, 1974, a peaceful military coup that ended the authoritarian Estado Novo regime and paved the way for democracy. This revolution allowed Portugal to decolonize its remaining African territories and integrate into European political structures. Today, both Spain and Portugal play crucial roles in the European Union, having joined in 1986. Their economies, cultural contributions, and diplomatic engagements continue to shape modern Europe. As democratic nations, they have embraced globalization while maintaining their unique historical and cultural identities. The Iberian Peninsula's history is a testament to resilience, adaptation, and cultural fusion. From prehistoric settlements to modern democratic states, the region has been shaped by diverse civilizations, conquests, and cultural exchanges. Its historical evolution, marked by Roman rule, Islamic influence, Christian reconquest, and colonial expansion, has left a lasting impact on language, art, architecture, and traditions. The legacies of these civilizations can still be seen today in the vibrant cultures of Spain and Portugal. Despite periods of political turmoil, Spain and Portugal have emerged as stable and influential nations within the European Union. Their ability to embrace change while preserving their rich heritage underscores the enduring significance of the Iberian Peninsula in world history.